We do not have a lot of them. They're very limited, and we have two different options. Now, this is really cool. One's gonna be a full turquoise cluster, and the other one's gonna be turquoise, and it has Swiss blue topaz mixed in at the very top and the very bottom of the earrings. Now, these are HSN priced. We also have 4 flex, and please note, we have a lot of free shipping because it's over $99. And today, if you hit $99 or more, all of your fashions, your jewelry, your footwear, your accessories, and beauty, right? We've included beauty on that, will ship for free. So if you saw stuff with Amy earlier, or things tonight, or Tony's shoes, get to $99 or more, and then of course, all that's gonna ship for free. All right, you ready to move into hour number 2?
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about the cluster earrings. Now, just FYI, I have 34, this is gonna be a short presentation, of the blue topaz, and I have 8 of the Kingman earrings. Really limited quantity, but what do we love about this?
I love these because these are basically the epitome of the Navajo silversmithing jewelry. What they use this cluster design is in a lot of their jewelry making, like I said, is that it represents family. And this, excuse me, the center stone represents the matriarch or the patriarch of the family, which binds them all together. And so when you see that, you're gonna see that flower look, that flower effect on it. And especially you're gonna see the stones that we have on there, that we're incorporating new stones within our jewelry making. And so when you see this, a lot of this is gonna pertain to water and the sky as well.
Really pretty, and I love that contrast of the opaque with the semi-transparent, or the transparent. I think there's something so pretty about it, especially in this set, you know, adding just that little bit of extra sparkle with it.
Yeah.
Are you finding that a lot of the artisans are enjoying working with stones outside of just traditional turquoise or howlite or things like that?
Yes, and just seeing how their designs come out, they've seen some artisans have some pictures that were cropped together, or how one would, you know, come together with another design, or either if not, sketch their own designs and just paint little pictures on them, and then, you know, get that inspiration from there.
It's pretty. It's very pretty too. Do you find that they're working with other stones now more and more?
They're venturing out. I mean, it's tough to venture away from that the basic turquoise that they have, and the green turquoise, and just having the garnet in it, or the topaz, or the multi-colored stones that we would have in our different jewelry. It's on certain occasions that they would do that, where if they have the rough with them too as well.
And again, 2 different choices, but these are really limited, and they're not gonna last very long. I have how many left in the Kingman? There can't be too many. Is it last call on both styles? Is it last call on both colors? Okay, last call on both colors. We're gonna be stamping that sold out here in just a second, and just stay right there. In fact, it's not gonna last very long. All right, gotta show you the bolo. In fact, I'm gonna put it on really quick. Can I wear it? We have 30, that's it. There's 30 of you to ever have this. Now, please think of the guys in your life. But I also think the